Persona 3 getting a remake has been rumored online for a while at this point, so it didn't really come as a surprise when an Atlus intern ended up leaking that it was, in fact, the case. And now that Atlus has both confirmed its existence and made sure that nobody will ever see nor hear from that intern ever again, we've been given official insight into what the game entails. Now I'm gonna be blunt and say that I'm not a Persona 3 fan. I honestly prefer the other games in the franchise for a variety of reasons. I mean, come on, Persona 3 has the nerve to not include Toru Adachi's 0 out of 10 game. But in all seriousness, I was still a little excited when the remake was unveiled because of how much it impacted the Persona franchise as a whole. Plus, the franchise itself has been more popular stateside than it was when the original Persona 3 was released. Now, plenty of people are able to experience the ultimate version of this beloved game across various consoles, right? Well, yeah, if it weren't for some baffling decisions made by Atlus that the public's been made aware of. I'm putting this point first since my thoughts are more speculative than concrete, but it's on the new English voice actors, which I'm honestly mixed on. While I get Yuri Lowenthal will be too busy and I'm grateful Junpei got recasted, the fact that everyone has a new voice actor is weird to me. Considering how iconic a lot of these voices are for these characters, it's odd that they would bring in new talent instead of bringing back any available, non-offending, voice actors. Honestly, now that I'm on the subject, I'm also grateful that Karen Strassman isn't coming back as Aigis because I genuinely find her voice irritating. It is for Aigis, Nanako, Anna, and a bunch of others that I'm forgetting about. Normally I'd feel bad for omitting it, but she endorses NFT, so I feel nothing, GG's. I've heard from some people that the reasoning behind the recasting besides Makoto and Junpei stemmed from unions, or the lack thereof. Voice actors are some of the most underappreciated people in the entertainment industry and are subsequently treated like trash a lot, usually by being underpaid for their work. Advocating for these unions is why Kyle McCarley left Mob Psycho 100's English dub, and why Laura Bailey characters like Rise and Lucina are now voiced by Alexis Tipton. If Atlus USA chose these voice actors because of this, then it's honestly a really scummy decision on their end. Again, it's just speculation on my part, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is what ended up happening. Regardless, best of luck to the new VAs in the shoes that they have to fill. And then you have the game itself, which is just a remake of Persona 3, meaning nothing is carried over from FES or Portable. While I understand being true to the original is probably what they're going for, it still brings a lot of issues with it. FES, as fucked up as that game's coding is, was created to be an enhanced version of Persona 3 and is considered by some fans to be the best version overall. Not only that, but omitting the content from FES removes roughly 30 hours of additional game content in the form of The Answer, an epilogue created for the game specifically. While fans are divided on the quality of The Answer, the remake could have found ways to at least improve on it, at least a little bit. After all, it is a lot of additional content that they're removing. Likewise, Persona 3 Portable is the only other game in the Persona franchise to have a female protagonist who will not be returning in Persona 3 Reload. To me, this is even more egregious because of how much that character choice has an effect on the game's story and social links. This ends up removing a lot of characterization that was provided in these alternatives, even if it means we don't have to mod in being unable to romance a little child. Jesus fuck! Plus, if the remake is going to be faithful to the original like Atlus claims, that means you won't have social links with any of your male party members. Unless, you count Koromaru, but even then that's questionable. It's obvious that Reload is taking notes from Persona 5 in terms of its presentation, which makes the lack of these links embarrassing. Persona 4 and 5 had their share of bad social links, but were clearly not afraid to embrace the idea of being able to have them with every party member. This really enforces the ideas of teamwork and friendship in both games, and makes the relationships between the two feel legitimate. Scrap Yosuke Root aside, it's clear that the devs for those games were embracing those ideas, and some of them are honestly the best the series has to offer. I'm sorry I want to get to know my fellow team members and not some random exchange student who I forgot was even in the game Atlus. Lastly, I feel like Atlus not adding much new content to the game itself is a drawback. This is a beloved PS2 game being built from the ground up for current gen consoles. If you're not going to bring back content from prior versions of the game, you could at least do better than a few new tracks and small scenes. It feels like they really aren't embracing the potential that this remake has, especially given the hype Persona 3 already has as a whole. You don't have to create an entirely new prologue, time skip, or whatever. Just add a little something more to it. Give people an incentive to pick up this game besides it just being Persona 3 on X console. Take for example the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, a set of faithful remakes of the PS1 classics that were also built from the ground up. The game also features new and scrapped content alike, such as new levels, the option to play as Coco, and time trials. Vicarious Visions was able to create a faithful remake, while also expanding upon it and creating a well-beloved set of games that brought Crash back into the spotlight. Atlus could very easily do the same with P3R, but it doesn't seem like they're going for that route, which honestly makes it feel soulless to me. But all of that could be non-issues to the people anticipating this game's release, and that's fine. I honestly want Atlus to succeed and continue to expand upon their franchises. But to me, a lot of what we know about P3R is them sticking their toes firmly into their comfort zone instead of what could be. Maybe we could get Fez and portable related content as DLC, which is scummy, but not out of place in the current gaming climate. Maybe Atlus really did want a fresh start with their voice actors, who I hope do well in their roles. And maybe it turns out the remake didn't meet my concerns at all. But I say this because I care. I want this game to be fun for old and new Persona fans alike. I want them to experience something great instead of something so bare bones in a flashy presentation. And maybe it will be great, but only time will tell. Even if I'm not picking up the game, I know many people will, and I don't want them to be let down. Also, Persona 5 Tactics is a neat concept, but the art style is fucking awful. Who approved of this?
Kanye loves it in his ass.